Hooty-hoo, all my stock market gamblers. Welcome today. It's Friday. We got July 9th. We made it to the end of the week. Stock markets recovered today, up about 400 points. Now, what do we have? We had the one-day dip. Everybody's still in the buy the dip mentality. Now, on Wednesday, I told you I shorted the market by buying puts on the QQQ. Now, sometimes it's just dumb luck, but those puts, they over doubled in one day. They went up 140%, and if you go up 140% in one day, take it off. Take your profits. That's what I did. I'm going to wait till next week. Maybe I'll try it again, but the market, they've already bought the dip. The market's already up 400 points today. Maybe it'll come back in. Now, what I want to talk today about is how I believe the Federal Reserve is pointing us to another Great Depression. Great Depression. Now, I can't talk about this with my friends. You go out and try telling your friends you're going into a Great Depression. You will lose a lot of friends. People do not want to hear that we are going into a Great Depression. That's why I'm glad I have this channel. That's why I'm glad that you're listening to me. Me and you, we can talk about this. We're not afraid of the depression. We can prepare for it. But a Great Depression, I believe, is coming. Now, why do I believe that? I believe that because the Federal Reserve is actually out of bullets. They're out of bullets. Now, they say they have a lot of tools to fight inflation. They do not. Okay. The interest rates are pegged at basically 0%, and they've been pegged there for a long time. And they keep printing the money, keep stimulating the economy to make the stock market go up. Stock market only goes higher. We know that. We had a dip for one day, and that was good. But what can the Federal Reserve do? Okay, we got inflation now. The government's admitting that we have 5% inflation right now. Now, if you go on sites like a Shadow Stats, you're going to learn that the inflation rate's really closer to about 15%, 12 to 15%. Now, that's not acceptable. Food prices, for example, in grocery stores, that's up about 30% year over year. House prices are up. Rents are up. Everything is inflating higher. Now, the Federal Reserve, they will tell you 5% is not acceptable, but we're on a pattern where even the federal government's going to admit that we're at 10%. 10% by the end of the year. That's where we're headed, and that's not acceptable. That is a tax on you. It's a tax on me. It takes away our purchasing power. We will no longer have purchasing power. Our dollars will not buy things. So they will have to do something to fight the inflation, right? Well, what can they do? Well, they're going to raise interest rates, maybe a quarter of a point. A quarter of a point's not going to do anything. 1%'s not going to do anything. When you get runaway inflation at 12%, raising it 1%'s not going to do a thing. Not going to do anything. But if you raise it 2 or 3%, you're going to crash the market. You're going to crash the stock market. You're going to crash the housing market. So they're just going to let inflation run away. And they're going to continue to throw fire on the inflation. Throw gasoline on the fire. They're going to continue to print the money. They're going to ignore inflation. They're going to completely ignore it. Now, the market sometimes thinks that they're actually going to fight it. To fight this inflation, they would have to do what Paul Volcker did back in the 70s. They would have to raise interest rates higher than the inflation rate. Now, if inflation's at 15%, interest rates would have to get higher than that to knock it down. They'd have to get up around 18 to 20%. And that's just impossible. We have too much debt. This is a debt-driven market. We are in debt in the United States. We're going to hit $30 trillion in debt this year. Now, what I want to talk about is this debt. Okay, so what happens in the stock market? Well, the stock market is driven by debt. Now, what we have are these zombie companies. A zombie company is a company that cannot pay its bills. They cannot even pay the interest on their debt. They don't bring in enough cash flow. They don't bring in enough cash flow to pay their debt interest. They are a zombie company. They should not be in business. But in 2020, the Federal Reserve used to just be able to buy government debt. But because we had this pandemic, we give them permission to buy corporate debt. Now, what did this do? Well, they go out and they buy the debt of these zombie companies. No one will lend money to a zombie company. Look, people aren't, well, a lot of people are stupid, but if you're not stupid, you won't lend money to a zombie company because you know there's no way to get paid back. Well, who is lending money to these companies? Well, it's the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is allowed to buy corporate debt. So what are they doing? They're taking taxpayer money to bail out the zombie companies. Now, eventually these zombie companies will go broke. They will go out of business. Their business model's not sustainable. So who's left holding the bag? Well, it's me and you. It's the taxpayer because the Federal Reserve lent the money to the zombie company that's going to go broke. Now, what else happens when the Federal Reserve has permission to buy corporate debt? Well, they can buy corporate debt of companies like Blackstone and BlackRock. So they're buying the corporate debt, which gives Blackstone and BlackRock unlimited financing to go out and they buy homes. They purchase homes. They purchase them 1,000 at a time, sometimes 10,000 at a time. They're buying homes with the Federal Reserve's money, and it's inflating the price of homes because they get the money less than 1%. Now, when we go buy a home, we have to pay 3%, but it's called the mortgage. But they get the money from the Federal Reserve because the Federal Reserve can now buy their debt for less than 1%, and they go out and buy homes. So it inflates everything. And this is taxpayer money. They're using your own money, my money, your money, to compete against you in the housing market. Okay, so how do I know this is all coming to an end? How do I know that this is going to crash? How do I know that we're headed to a Great Depression? Well, it's because of the debt. The debt cannot be repaid back. Not at the interest rate we're at now, and not if they raise interest rates. The Fed has absolutely no power. They've lost their power. They've lost control, as a matter of fact. Okay, now, right now is the good times. A lot of people don't understand. People look at all the homeless problem, and they think this is the bad time. No. This is the good times. You see, when socialism starts, socialism is great at the beginning because it's more money. Socialism, free money. They send you checks. They send you stimulus. They pay for everything. They give you extra unemployment. They pay for your health insurance. It's called socialism. And at the beginning, it's great. But what happens? You go from more money, right? Till you go, no money. Because at some point, we have to face reality. At some point, we have to stop printing this money so that inflation will not go to 50% a year. Could you imagine inflation at 50% a year? That's what hyperinflation is. And it just destroys a country. It kills a country. At some point, you were going to pay for this one way or the other. Now, they can keep that stock market going straight up. Look at Zimbabwe, Venezuela. Their markets are high because they just keep printing the money. But the country is destroyed. The country's destroyed. So at some point, you either have to stop printing the money and raise interest rates to fight the inflation, right? You either have to go that route, but that will crash the real estate market, crash the stock market, or you just keep printing the money, and just watch hyperinflation come, which will destroy all the money that you have. Can you imagine it goes down 50% a year, your purchasing power? In other words, in 2 years, it completely wipes out the country. It's ridiculous. Okay, so the Fed, they kind of painted themselves into this corner. There's no way out for them. They do not have a way out. That's why I think we're heading to a Great Depression. Now, when you start talking about this with your friends, they get very depressed and they don't want to hang out with you. That's why I got this YouTube channel so me and you can talk about it. Now, okay, so what do we do? How do we protect ourselves? Well, I think you should have some cash. I think cash is going to be king when it starts to come down. Now, you don't want all cash because the Fed could be stupid enough to keep printing the money, and then your cash becomes worthless. So what else do you want? I think you want gold, and I think you want silver. Because if they keep printing the money becomes worthless, but gold holds its purchasing power, Okay, so those are the two ways to go. Now, some people say Bitcoin will hold its purchasing power. Maybe it does. It hasn't been around long enough to really know. But, was it 60,000? Now it's at 30,000. I mean, is that holding purchasing power? Maybe. I like gold and silver. I'm an old guy. I'm a boomer. Clearly, I am a boomer. But That's how you protect yourself. You got to protect yourself both ways, though. You got to protect yourself with some cash, just in case, that they actually do the right thing and stop printing the money and raise rates. Cash will become king. Now, if they continue to print money and continue to just keep interest rates at 0%, well, then you're going to need gold and silver. Those are just going to become so valuable, so valuable. So you got to protect yourself, and those are the two ways to really protect yourself. Well, anyways, I'm glad that I have you guys. If you like this stuff, give me the thumbs up. If it depresses you, well, stop watching me, for crying out loud. But if you like it, thumbs up so we can talk about again next week. Punch the subscribe button. I want to talk to you next week. That's all I got today. Just a little rant. Have a great weekend, everybody. I hope I didn't depress anyone. But yeah, I think we're headed for a great depression. I believe so. Protect yourself, though. You can do it. I'm Tall Mike. Get out there. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye now.